Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. I hope you enjoy. Story number 1. A bit less uncaring, written by Sun Praising. The galaxy was a lawless and uncaring place. No unification, every race for themselves. When the Gorgnar came to Earth, they lasered away all things in orbit and outside Earth atmosphere. Then, they demanded the entire population of Earth become their slaves. Earth was too far from their or anyone's empire to properly colonize. After China declared war on them and was swiftly annihilated by the technology, the Gorgnar had tens of thousands of years more to develop. The rest of the nation sat together to come up with a plan to secure the survival of humanity. After 3 days of discussion, they asked the Gorgnar to give them 2 Earth years to organize their population for transport and FTL communication equipment to contact them. While this did not happen often, it was not unheard of. The Gorgnar alone knew about 700 species with worlds they could reach with their FTL engines, and the galaxy had a lot of species with not even a homeworld left, bound to slavery or extinct. They accepted. When they returned to receive their prize, almost half of the population was gone. They were told that they revolted because they would rather die than be enslaved. While they highly doubted this explanation, they did not find much evidence of war or fights. They took what remained of humans on Earth with them, not knowing that the rest of them survived. Humanity used the new FTL communication to contact other races and made them an offer they would not refuse. We pledge 100 people to 10 Earth years of service for 1 starship each, still functioning and equipped with basic technology needed for longer FTL trips and small weapon systems. After that, they were to be paid. While humans are neither strongest nor their need to sleep aided them to sell themselves as workers, their endurance was quite exceptional, and many found hard work. They also had another advantage for this deal. While slaves were cheap and easy to come by, they were never loyal or motivated. Humans, which expected a payment, were both. With their loyalty, they earned a reputation of honesty and reliability, and so they worked hard for 10 long years to come. The galaxy was a lawless and uncaring place, so most of the species they worked for tried to enslave them instead of paying them after 10 years, which was expected. The humans simply stopped working. Some even refused to eat, and they did not ask for much pay. From the economical standpoint, it made more sense to the aliens just to give them an outdated ship they wanted to scrap anyways and give in to their demands. The Forge Worlds needed their human workers, and they couldn't lose so many at once. So, most species they worked for accepted their demands. Some did not, and executed their workers, but their victims and actions wouldn't be forgotten. 11 years after first contact, a lot of ships jumped to a point in space half a light year away from the Sol system. All of them human. All of them had planned for this moment since the old nations released their plan. They exchanged information on where they lived, how to contact them, and how they made their money to survive the lawless void. The Gorgnar knew they were up to something, but were unable to catch them. The exchange was automated and didn't last even a minute. All those ships jumping off in different directions made it impossible to trace the warp of a single ship back to origin or destination on return. Most humans used their ships to ship goods from one system to another. Now they had finally had the way to contact each other. They formed a mix of corporations, army and government, the Terran Void Fleet. They sent money from richer human settlements to shippers to those to the poor to survive alone, and released the shipper codex. Since the codex, not one shipment of goods was just stolen by the human shippers, something that happened with all other shippers, be it due to greed or desperation. No species individualistic enough to man small freighters outside their own systems had enough empathy to finance their kind en masse like the humans did. This reputation, while not making them rich, gave them a solid income, and a monopoly over inter-system transports, which turned out to be even more important. 16 years after first contact, the Terran fleet declared war on the Grognard. No more than 2 minutes later, the first Battle of Sol began. A wild mix of armed freighters, outdated military spaceships, and a few human-built ships with all kinds of reverse-engineered technology from many species jumped right next to the cradle world of humanity. The initial Grognard warships had long left, leaving only a small outpost to mine for resources. While being heavily guarded for an outpost, they were no match for the human fleet. After destroying all military installations and ships of the Grognard, all of the fleet jumped off, facing the Grognard territories. The Grognard first laughed at the declaration of war. Humans had no way to capture a system of theirs with more than a small outpost, let alone hold the system against their navy. They sent a big fleet to the Sol system to show the galaxy what happened to those offending them. They didn't find the humans. Later, the Grognard High Commander received requests for escorts from all across the Empire. The freighters they owned, as well as any other freighter on their payroll, got attacked and destroyed by space pirates. The humans responsible called themselves freebooters, but the Grognard did not care. While the Grognard Empire had a big enough navy, it wasn't able to send enough ships to every freighter they needed to send out. Humans picked their targets with the fleet size they chose to bring and usually recovered the cargo to finance their war. Their enemies spent more and more for less and less freighters to come through. It wasn't clear at first, but the Empire was collapsing. The worlds with smaller populations are not self-sufficient and more or less surrendered to the humans by paying their horrendous prices for basic supplies. Bigger worlds were somewhat more stable, but far from immune. The elite did barely receive any luxury goods, and the plummeting economy and lack of resources racked the lower classes. Tension on those worlds rose to open revolution from the Empire, something unheard of before. Over the course of 4 earthen years, the Grognard lost half their worlds to independence, and 24 small as well as 3 city worlds to other races, half of those humans. Earth, of course, among them. It was only then when peace was signed with the humans, which no longer were organized as the Void Fleet, but as the Terran Republic, the Void Fleet being the military not bound to local systems. The humans demanded their enemies the worlds they already conquered, not much to the Empire, but a good start for the humans, as well as all humans they've ever taken. A very big fee for everyone who didn't make it, half as reparations, half to prevent them from slaughtering them instead of turning them over. With those refreed and small surplus of money, they re-inhabited Earth. The worlds they've taken over, by every other species' surprise, haven't been cleared of any Grognard. But they instead integrated them into their empire. They now paid their tribute to Earth. From the Grognard officials, the more stubborn, imperialist, unfit, or unpopular among lower Grognard classes were replaced, mostly by humans, but also by Grognard. Their damages rebuilt, or at least reimbursed, their culture and values introduced and spread. The worlds are now open to any race, ship, and individual which wants to enter and respects their laws. They quickly outpaced other species in technology, not only because of their own thirst for knowledge and ingenuity, but also because they have so many non-humans in their republic. They all have a different view of the world and come up with new ideas, unthought of others. Most of them have been enslaved on first contact and escaped or freed by their laws. Any slave entering Terran space is free by their law, and they enforce their laws. They are the only race once enslaved but able to rescue themselves. The only species known to make peace with the enemies and survive so far. And the only species which accepts others, and most importantly, my offspring. The only ones who gave shelter to refugees whose homeworlds had been taken. Those like us. The galaxy is a bit less lawless and uncaring, now that they are here. End of story. I would quickly like to thank the T5 channel members and Patreons. Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Barky, Lord Azrakal, It's Difficult to Pronounce, Dragzoon WRE, Holly's Sister, Arcadian. Thank you very much.